Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Hurricane Idalia is making landfall in Florida. And Bell County is expected to vote in a new circuit judge in the upcoming election.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6 o'clock on August 30th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And Brandon, the rain has moved out, the sun is moving in, so we're going to have a really good week ahead of Labor Day and some football games.
Exactly, and quick clarification, it has not made landfall
yet. It hasn't made landfall. It'll make
close.
It soon.
It's getting close, but it'll be later this morning. But yes, it's getting there, and it's a powerful one. We'll talk more about that here in Maine weather, but let's talk about the moisture we do have around this morning. It's some fog, dense fog at that, close to zero visibility in many locations this morning, and we're going to continue to see that. Anything less than 5 miles on this map, which is a lot of this map, is dense fog, and there's actually a dense fog advisory out for most of the region until 10 o'clock, and you see that it was expanded just a little bit further west into parts of Louisville's territory. I believe Lexington Metro now included in that as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head deeper the day. 57 in Irvin to 70 in Harlan and Jacksboro this morning. A lot of low to mid to upper 60s. The other warm spots out there, Pikeville just went to 63 live on air. 67 Manchester, Grundy, and then 64 there in Williamsburg, 65 Jackson and Monticello. Breakfast forecast, grab you some frosted weather wheats as you head out the door. We're going to see temperatures there in the low to mid 60s. I think we'll drop a little bit more before it's all said and done. And then a beautiful day out there with a mix of sun and clouds and comfortable temperatures. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon. Hurricane Idalia has officially turned into a Category 4 storm with potential wind speeds of up to 156 miles per hour as it barrels towards western Florida. The storm is expected to make landfall this morning. In addition to the storm, parts of the state also face the threat of tornadoes. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides has more from Crystal River, Florida, as people brace for impact.
Strong winds, torrential rain, and rough waves slammed Key West.
It's pretty scary. It's kind of crazy.
Heavy flooding in Fort Myers. Parts of southern Florida are already feeling the effects of Hurricane Idalia before it makes landfall today.
This is crunch time right now.
A state of emergency has been declared and evacuation orders issued for dozens of Florida counties, with deadly storm surges expected to reach as high as 15 feet in some areas.
If you do choose to stay in one of the evacuation zones, first responders will not be able to get you until after the storm has passed.
Many Floridians have heeded those warnings.
I just feel like no one should probably stay at this point.
Though others say they'll ride out the storm.
Being the caretaker of the oldest building in Cedar Key, I just feel kind of like I need to be here.
Efforts have been taken to protect the state's most vulnerable, with flood barriers installed at multiple hospitals and some patients evacuated. Rescue animals have also been moved out of the impact zone. U.S. Coast Guard units and more than 5,000 National Guard troops are prepared for search and rescue operations. Thousands of electricity workers are also standing by to help restore power quickly after the hurricane passes. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Crystal River, Florida.
Several major airports in Florida are closed due to the storm, including Tampa International. The FAA warns the impacts of those closures will likely be felt by air travelers inside and outside of the state. Louisville police officer Nicholas Wilt will be honored as Kentuckian of the Year. Officer Wilt is back home rehabbing after he was shot in the head during the mass shooting at Old National Bank in Louisville back in April. He was one of the first officers to respond to the bank. Police say his response likely saved lives. The Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award ceremony is November 4th. Some Eastern Kentucky voters will have more races on the ballot in November than the statewide offices. Bell Countyans will pick a new circuit judge. WYMT's Jack Demler spoke to all 3 candidates.
When Bell County Circuit Judge Robert Costanzo announced his retirement in June, Commonwealth's attorney Lisa Fugate says she had no interest in running.
I began getting approached by different people saying, you need to run, this county needs to be safe, you need to run. And it got to the point to where I was having victims call and say, Lisa, you have to run. And I would say, no, I love my job, I'm not going to.
But after several weeks of contemplation, Fugate had a change of heart and is hoping for a change in office and a change in position.
There was a moment when someone had spoke to me and I realized that this is what I needed to do. So I put in my name for circuit judge.
Fugate says she wants a safer Bell County.
As circuit judge, I feel that I can ensure that the kids are safer, that I can ensure that certain individuals are not allowed around children.
Fugate has 2 opponents, including Keith Nagel, someone who has practiced law in Middlesboro for decades.
I think the thing that I would bring is just all my experience, my 38 years experience, seeing all kinds of cases, all kinds of people. You know, I've seen a lot over my years, and I would bring that to the bench.
And someone that hopes to speed up cases.
We've got a big backlog of some cases, especially criminal cases. There's a lot of moving parts in that, but I believe I will be able to manage that and speed that up a little bit.
Danny Smith is also in the race. He's been practicing law in and around Bell County for about 12 years, and he hopes to move cases along quicker with fairness.
I think the goal of any good judge should be to apply the law equally and fairly to everyone, and that's what I plan to do.
Voters will have the final say on November 7th. In Bell County, Jack Demler, WYMT Mountain News.
For more information about the candidates, you can find this story on our website at WYMT.com. Good hearing and vision are 2 important qualities for kids to have in order to perform well in school. However, in a report by the CDC, it says that vision and hearing disabilities are 2 of the most common conditions for kids younger than 18. And Roy G. Eversole school nurse Brittany Inguajato says there are things parents can do to ensure their child gets the help they need.
If a parent is noticing, signs or symptoms at home, they can reach out to us and we'll be happy to do their screening here at school, get that completed. We can always send the paperwork home and let them know, how that went. And we always recommend that if they receive any kind of notice of a referral that they follow up, as quickly as possible, get appointments scheduled.
Inguajato says school nurses can do both vision and hearing screenings at school. The first game of the 2023 UK football season is almost here. Days from now, thousands of vehicles will be parked in the Kroger-filled lot. But a number of those fans will find a parking space in neighborhoods bordering the stadium. Garrett Weimer and photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw spoke with 2 homeowners who have lived a combined 80-plus years in the surrounding neighborhood.
Don Martina has lived on Castle Road, located off Cooper Drive, since 1974. It's quiet now, but on game day, it's different.
It's traffic all over the neighborhood. They park on just about all 4 or 5 streets in the neighborhood.
Martina says it's a 10-minute walk to the stadium. He says at times, fans not paying attention will park their vehicle where they shouldn't.
Somebody will park over there, and they're likely to get towed in. It's marked. There's signs all up and down the street, like see that over there? It says no parking in UK home football games, tow zone. And it's not just this neighborhood too. The next neighborhood down here in Mount Vernon, they do the same thing. They park all over that place.
It can get a little bit hectic around here. You got to kind of plan around it if you're planning on going somewhere.
Mark Rehorn has lived in the Mount Vernon neighborhood, also a 10-minute walk from the stadium, for more than 30 years. He says if you're out and trying to get home during game day traffic, it can be difficult. He says the best time to leave the house is when the game is underway.
If you're not watching the game or something, you can leave during the game, and honestly, it's not such a bad time to shop.
Rehorn says in the past he's tried to warn fans about parking where they shouldn't.
And probably 15 minutes into the game, they were towing those cars away.
Martina and Rehorn say fan behavior in their neighborhoods has gotten better over the years. But Rehorn says he'll never forget someone leaving a cooler of beer in his trees.
And I just waited, and somebody came and picked it up, later on that morning.
You didn't drink it?
No, I didn't. It was tempting.
In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Many student and employee vehicles will be required to move from Kroger Field before 7 a.m. on home football game days. For more parking information that accounts for game day traffic, you can find this story on our website, WYMT.com. U.S. News and World Report have named 2 Eastern Kentucky high schools in the state's top 20 high schools for 2023. Both high schools are independent school districts. Paintsville High School was ranked 15th in the state, while Pikeville High School was ranked 16th. The next highest school district among the Mountain Range is Harlan High School at 28.
.610 here on this Wednesday morning. Remember how they were talking about Mount Vernon Drive there in that UK parking package? I got Mount Vernon actual back here behind me on I-75 in Rockcastle County, and you can't see anything. It is fogged over out there this morning. Dense fog advisory until 10. Be careful. Give yourself plenty of extra time. There's also the construction, the overnight construction is going on there at the bridge at Carr Creek Lake. They finally got it started this morning, so give yourself plenty of time to get through there as well. Around 3:30, I was stuck there for about 15 minutes, so just give yourself time to get out the door this morning. 57 Irvin, 70 Jacksboro, a lot of low to mid to upper 60s out there this morning. We are still tracking Idalia. We'll have the latest update for you here in just a few minutes. We're going to have a fall preview, though, the next couple of days here at home, and then we will start to heat up this weekend and heading into next week. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon, and thanks for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, the Senate is bringing the CEOs of tech companies together as it gets ready to have a discussion on the use of AI.